Well, hello, folks. Welcome to another episode of Taking in the Outdoors. Not just getting out in the outdoors, but taking it in. So, for this episode, hang on tight. Here we go. See you in a moment. Hey, folks. Yeah, here we are, taking in the outdoors. Oh, isn't that what we all love to do, is just take it in, get outdoors and just take it in? Absolutely. Today's topic, this episode, a hike I like. A hike I like. That's one of my favorite activities in the outdoors is hiking. Tonight or today, or whatever time it is, wherever you are, we're going to talk about hikes in general. There's different types of hikes. And some hikes are they're so pleasurable. Other hikes, they seem more like a chore than entertainment or enjoyment. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. Now, the types of hikes. What is a hike? Well, a hike is getting out and putting some distance between you and your starting point, and then typically turning back around and coming back to your starting point. Now, that could be as simple as, I went to the city park yesterday and I hiked around that whole city park. That's a hike. Sure, you were in a city park, there were other people around, but you hiked the city park. Level, groomed, or even blacktopped or paved walking paths, and you hiked that. Now, a lot of people say, well, that would be just a walk. Well, to me, taking a walk is not much different than a hike. It's just a very shortened version of a hike. A hike, to me, if you're actually hiking, you're going to put at least a mile under your shoes for a hike. Anything less than a mile, you might as well class as just a leisurely walk. Okay. Now, when we're talking about hikes, so you might have a 1 mile hike, or to the fullest other extreme, you might be hiking all the way up to a mountaintop. That's pretty extreme. All elevation. Oh, there we go. We're heading to the top of the mountain. Quite the hike. Or it could be a through hike. It could be the Appalachian Trail, and you're going to hike that whole Appalachian Trail. It could be the Pacific Coast Trail. You're going to hike that whole trail. Now you're talking months of hiking. Just continuous hiking for months. And there's several trails in the United States that are established trails that you can go out and you can spend anywhere from a week to several months completing that whole hike if you're going to hike the whole trail. Now, all those trails that I'm aware of also have segments. So you might hike a 8 or a 10 or a 15 or a 20 mile segment of this long trail. So you might be out there for a day. Let's say you're going to hike 4 miles in, 4 miles back, 8 miles in a day. That's a good hike. Or you're going to through hike a segment that's 20 miles long, and you're going to give yourself 2 days to do it, or 3 days to do it. You give yourself 3 days, you got approximately 7 hours a day of hiking on a 20-mile segment. So you're going to spend a couple of nights out there, you know. So you're combining hiking with camping. So there's also tons of small trails all over the country. You go to national parks, any national park has hiking trails that are day trails. I mean, where it takes you part of a day or the full day to hike that trail from a trailhead to its destination and then back. State parks. Many of the states in the U.S., their state parks have beautiful trails that you can hike. So as you can tell, there's lots of different options. Now, if you're day hiking, you might be as simple as wearing a hip or fanny pack, or just carrying a bag over your arm, and you're just hiking for part of the day, and you got water and snacks and a first aid kit and just some basics in a bag of some sort that you're carrying with you for that hike in and out. You might have a walking stick, a hiking stick, and that's it, and off you go. Or maybe you're taking a very long day hike, and you know you're going to start early in the morning, and by lunchtime you're going to be stopping and taking a big break. You may take periodic breaks, but at the lunch hour, you're going to stop and you're going to fix yourself a bite to eat. Now, you'll be snacking on the trail, but you're going to stop and you're going to fix yourself a lunch. And then you're going to complete the rest of your hike. Okay. Then there's the overnighters. It doesn't matter what, one night or 2 nights, 3 nights, a week. Now you're either wearing a very large day pack with a bedroll and some cover, a tent of some sort, or maybe you're hammock camping, but you're carrying camping gear with you. So now you got quite a load, because you need camping gear because you're spending nights. You also need to carry cooking equipment and food because you're going to be out there much longer. Okay, here I've been just rattling on about hikes, right? And you're thinking, okay, this was titled A Hike I Like. So what hike does Sty really like? Well, I'll tell you what. There's hikes that are rugged and stony and steep, and you gotta cross creeks. You're gonna be getting your feet wet, and you might have mud. You might, all these different nasty conditions you might run into. And then there's hikes like this one. Like this one you see in the background. A nice groomed path, beautiful, going up through the forest, and that trail might be 3-4 miles long, beautifully groomed like that. Very casual, nothing extreme, little grades here and there. One of my favorite hikes is to a little waterfall up here in northern Wisconsin that's called Lost Creek Falls, and it's 1.5 miles from the trailhead to the waterfall. And you drop a little over 200 feet in that 1.5 miles. You drop a couple hundred feet. Well, a couple hundred feet isn't a lot. And you don't feel that couple hundred feet until you're coming back, right? Well, if you take your time, you're just leisurely hiking and taking in what's around you on that trail, I plan my hikes into Lost Creek Falls. I plan on 4 hours. Do I need 4 hours? No, no. Um, I hike at a pace, and I'm an older fella. I hike at a pace of about, 2 miles an hour because I'm taking a lot in. If I'm just dead set on getting to point B, then I'm hiking at about 3 miles an hour, maybe a little over 3 miles an hour. So it takes me a third of an hour to get a mile. So at Lost Creek Falls, that's only a half-hour hike. I take about 45 minutes to hike in, sometimes an hour to hike in that 1.5 miles. And then I hang out there for an hour or two, or sometimes 3. Then it takes me an hour, hour and a half to get back out. And the trail, it's not as nice as this one you see in this picture, but it's still good. And there's some rocky spots. There's some damp areas that have nice walkways built through them. But overall, it's a good hiking trail. You don't have to worry about rolling an ankle or, for the most part, tripping and falling down a hillside or some crazy stuff like that. And the reward is awesome. It's a beautiful forest, beautiful waterfall at the end. Now that's a hike I like. I like any hike where even if I'm going overnight, I try to pack fairly light. Now, I'm not a micro camper. I don't practice everything being within, if it's a fraction of an ounce too much, I got to find a product that's lighter. I don't go down that road, folks, sorry, but I don't. For me, 3-day hike, reasonable pack, 30 pounds. Day hike, I carry usually about 15 pounds. And why do I carry 15 pounds is because I got enough gear with me and enough food in the event something happens and I have to spend a night or two. I'll be able to do it. But a hike I like is one where I don't see a lot of people. The trail is fair to good. I don't mind getting my feet a little wet. I don't mind crossing a creek once in a while. I don't want it too terribly steep and rugged where by the time I get to my destination, I'm all wore out and I got to turn my tail around and get back. I want to be able to take in that whole hike. And on my return trip, I always add 50% in the form of time to my return trip, because you've burned up a bunch of energy in, and you've eaten and snacked and tried to keep your energy up. But on the way out, your muscles have started to feel it. So if you just slow yourself down a little bit, maybe 10-20% of the effort, and slow yourself down on the way out, it feels like it felt on the way in. Now that's a hike I like. And why I like it is because I can take it all in. I can take my time, no matter how rugged or hilly or weavy the trail may be. I can go out in a relaxed state and take in all of the great outdoors, all the way there and all the way back. That's a hike I like. So there you go, folks. Get out and take a hike that you like, even if it's just around your city park. Take in the outdoors, and we'll see you in the next one. And you all have a very nice day. And get out and hike. Bye-bye.